computer. There we are. So the endings of this in the plural is alpha instead of oi. But the accusative plural is also alpha. So instead of we would if we had a masculine word like logos, the plural would be logoi, or the accusative would be logus, but not so with a neuter word. A word that is neuter in the plural is erga, for example, alpha, and it's the same. And this is a characteristic of all neuter words. They are the same in the nominative and in the accusative. But we have to learn the endings. Now, when we come to the article, let's add that. We notice that here, masculine, we have ha logos, ha anthropos, ha angelos, and so on. The words we have learned so far that are masculine. We have only learned masculine words, and these are the article endings or the article forms for each case. But now we have to add the neuter forms for each case. And as I said, in the neuter, the nominative and vocative, nominative, vocative, and accusative are both the same, ta, and the plural ta. So if we add the article to ergon, we have ta ergon, ta ergon, ta ergon, nominative, vocative, and accusative, all look the same. The plural, ta erga, ta erga, ta erga. The accent mark here is wrong. It should go the other way, but that's a little fine detail. What is helpful, though, is that the genitive and dative are the same as we had before with the masculine nouns. So that is actually the reason that grammatically we group these together and we say they are second declension. They, because these nouns are so similar with genitive and the dative, they have the same ending, the genitive u and the dative o with iota subscript. Then we are grouped together and we call them the second declension neuter nouns. We learned in chapter 3 some second declension masculine nouns. The plurals, again, erga, erga, and the genitive plural is the same. Actually, it will be the same in every gender. It will never change, the genitive plural. But ois, we had before, the dative plural, ois, to the people. To lao, to the men. Tois, anthropois. So the plural is ois. So we don't have too much new we have to learn. We notice if we look at the article here, it's the same in the genitive. It's the same in the dative, to and to, and the genitive plural tone, and the dative neuter plural tois. So back at page 63, at the bottom, you have these endings as well. He doesn't give you the article here. He gives it on page 64. He gives you the neuter article. I'm putting them together here in this way. Ta ergon, vocative ta ergon, accusative ta ergon, genitive tu ergo, dative to ergo. And the plurals, ta erga, the works. Ta erga, the works. Ta erga, the works. Now, if I ask you to translate all you're going to be able to translate right now to English, just if these forms, is the works, the works, the works. And except for here, you will have to say of the works to show the genitive. And to show the dative, you will have to say to or for the works. That's the difference, because we want to show what the dative case means. But here we can only say the works. Because we don't have a sentence to put it in to say any further than that. Now, if you take other words from the list on page 67, for example, biblion, that's another word. Notice the article ta biblion, and notice that the accusative case is the same as the nominative. That's characteristic for neuter nouns. And then we notice that the genitive of the book is to bibliou, and to or from, sorry, this should be for, not from, for the book. To or for the book, to biblio. I might mention while we mentioned this word from that vocabulary list at chapter 4 on page 67, that a biblion is not Bible. So please do not translate this word as Bible. We get our word Bible from it in English, but biblion means book, not Bible. They have other words that describe the Old Testament scriptures. Biblion is not one of them. A biblion was in their time a scroll that you rolled up. And only at the end of the first century did they begin making books as we know them today and binding them together. But in the time of Jesus, they had only scrolls. So the synagogue leader would go and take the scroll of the prophet Isaiah, for example, and then Jesus, when he was older, would be one who would stand up and open the scroll and read from it, if he was allowed to do so as a good student, and he was a good student. Now, notice the plurals are exactly as we learned with ergon, ta biblia, and ton biblion, and tois bibliois. Again, we have to add these words of the books, or to or for, not from, mistake, for the books, in order, and it doesn't matter which word we take. If we take daimonion, for example, it will be tai daimonion, tu daimoniu, and so forth. Ta daimonia, the demons. Ta paidia, the infants. Ta tekna, the children. So if you go back to page 67 again, if you look at those words, there are 8 of them that are all neuter. If you put the article in front of them, ta, each case ta, because they are neuter. Notice above on page 67, vocabulary 4, the 8 words that are neuter. Now, what I want you to do, we're going to break out into rooms again. I want you to take page 67, the 8 words that are there, and I would like for you to practice saying to each other. Just change, one person does it, and then another person. I'm going to move someone to group 1. And I would like for you to practice saying the word in each case. For example, now you will say ta biblion, the book, or you will say ta prosopon, the face. But you will go down and say the word in each case, and each singular and plural, and the translation in English. So each person will say, for example, ta prosopon, the face. Ta prosopon, the face. Genitive, tu prosopou, of the face. To prosopo, to or for the face. So we get practice in saying the nouns in the different cases. So go into your groups again. I'm opening all the rooms and practice saying each of the new vocabulary words in each of the cases and translate each of them into English. Just each person, change persons. One person takes one word, another person takes another word from the 8 and go through and say them. You may not finish before I close the rooms, but you can at least make an attempt to go through all 8 of them. So here you are. Please join your group now and practice saying the words to each other. Because I need your help to remember. All right. Yes, thank you. Always remind me of recording if I'm not. John takes. All right. The word for takes. Arif, please, what should I write?
Should I tell? Hello?
Yes, ask Arif Harun. You have to unmute and answer. All right, Tamina, Ms. Tamina, please. Oh, all right,
It's
there you
Lambano.
Lambani.
It's Lambano.
Okay, Mr. Arif is right. Lamban. I'm running out of room, but this is the third singular ending. Lamban A. Third singular. O ace A. If the answer, if we have a noun here, we have to have the third singular. Takes or is taking, but I use the simple present, or takes. All right, Asher, Shervan, Shervan, please. How do I write bread now? John takes bread, and you can use and as well. Mr. Shervan. Mr. Anil Bashir.
Yes, sir. Sir, it's accusative case and arton, the word.
Very good. All right, Arton, please mute your mic when you're not answering a question. And the word for and is Anil Bashir.
Okay.
Someone said
K.
Kai.
Kai.
Thank you. Shahid, how would
Yes,
I
sir.
write? No, I should not have. We don't have this word gives. I don't know what I was thinking. I was avoiding that word. And what word do we have that would go here? All right, let's just take, if he, I'll use lambane again instead of take, gives, lam a, he gives it, or no, sorry, he takes it. He takes bread and he takes the book. All right, he takes the book. Mr. Azia Wilbur, he take the book. How do I write this?
Sir, should I tell you?
No, I'm reading. I'll write on Azria. Mr. Phineas. Reverend Phineas, the book, I would write how?
Sorry, I didn't unmute it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tazia.
To Biblion, sir.
To
Biblion.
on. Notice, even though this is the direct object, it takes the book. This is accusative case. It still has ta biblion because this is a neuter word. Now we have the rest to a child. Anyone respond? How do I write to a child?
Sir, it's hoi technon.
Yes.
Hoi technon.
What's the first word you said, please?
It would be
Hoi.
technon dative case.
Actually, it will be simply check.
Techno.
Hoi.
No. Dative case to a child is expressed simply by the dative case. There is no article the. We use the indefinite article in English, but we don't have that in Greek. So we simply write techno, to a child. The dative case already expresses this indirect object. So ho Ioannis lambane arton. Bread, there's no article here, so I didn't put ton arton. Kai and lambane ta biblion, the book, to a child is simply techno. I don't need a word for to. It's expressed with the dative case. Now I'm going to do this because I don't have the worksheet. Won't appear for me for some reason on my computer. Again, we're going to work in groups. And I'm going to give you this sentence. So you need to write this sentence down and then take it into your groups. I'm going to give you an English sentence, and I would like for you to write this in, oh, put the cap on the wrong way. I would like for you to write this sentence in, so write it down in English and work it out together as a group in Greek. Okay. The angels are finding demons in the temple. All right. Hope you can see it. The angels are finding demons in the temple. Got it? You write it down. And I'm going to send you back to your groups. I paused the recording and I want you to go back to groups. So go back to your groups, please. And work this sentence out in Greek. So you'll need to join your group again. Try different things. a little more difficult to do. The rooms are closing. All right, you're all back. We're going to start from, at the bottom, or not the bottom. We're going to start with group 3 this time. So that's Mr. Reverend Phineas and Rafakat and Shahid. Let's have the demons. The demons do not.
It do not. Tai Yamonai U. Ta
What did you say?
Yamonai U.
Okay, I think I'm going to try to make this easier for myself. Let me share a screen. Okay, text. Let me get a bit larger font. I hope. Let me see. Okay. not giving me the option. Oh, here we are. All right, that's what I need. Okay.
Yes.
All right, ta daimonia is the subject. Now,
Oh.
the demons do not believe. So you said ook,
U. U.
ooh.
Omicron upsilon.
Unfortunately, this whiteboard will not allow me to write breathing marks, so I will have to do without them. But you should have them. U, ta, daimonia, u. And now, second group. Azria, Arif, Imran, Sharon, Arif, Asher, Shervan, sorry. I'm only seeing part of the name sometimes, so it's hard to on the list. How do I write do not believe? How do I write believe?
STA.
Anyone from room 2, please? Azria,
Yes, sir. PSTA or PSTUC?
STOE. STOE.
is this correct?
No.
No, it will be.
No,
it
sir.
will be PSTOE.
No, sir.
Why is it wrong? Why is it wrong? Group 2, room 2.
Sir, sir, here will be a plural word
Because
for
this
pistosi.
we will use the singular verb. So here we will use the third person singular.
Is this correct? Is this correct?
It will be a pistocene.
So
No,
is it this
that's wrong.
or this? Which one is
Sir,
it?
I think it's PSTUC because it's
Sir,
demons.
pistosi.
Nominative
Sir,
case
here
is
the
in plural.
demons. It's a plural and yeah,
All right.
pistosi aayega.
And we have to use the third person.
Yes.
Yes, you're
It is
right. We
either
have to
Third
use the
person
third.
plural. It will be a third person
The
plural.
one you write like after the last one. That's right.
yes, PSTUC.
Can you allow to share?
Actually, the right answer is this.
PSTUC.
And the reason it's correct is that we have a new rule we have to learn. Neuter plural subjects have singular verbs. If the verb is neuter plural, the verb will still be singular. Why is this the case? I don't know. I didn't invent the Greek language. Somebody else did. And
Okay.
neuter plural subjects, as in ta, daimonia, the verb must still be singular. If it were hoi angeloi, pistu usin. So if I write instead, if I have this sentence, the angels believe. They are masculine. The angels here. Angels are masculine. A masculine plural takes the third person plural, pistu usin. But neuter plurals take the singular verb. Now we have to finish group 1. Anil Shalim John, and room 1, please, are not believing in God would be what? Anyone from group 1?
And Theo. The,
In
And
what?
Theo. And Theo.
I can't write the iota subscript, so you're going to have to imagine that it's underneath. It should be under, there should be iota underneath, but it won't let me write it. Now, is this correct? Room 3, do you think this is correct? Mr. Phineas, Reverend Phineas. Mr. Rafakat. Someone tell me, is this correct? Do you agree?
yes, I am agree.
Yes, agree.
Does everyone agree?
Yes.
You're wrong. Because God is here as a proper name. You're talking about a person. So you must have the article with the name.
Christos.
You must have to theo, and the iota, I cannot write the iota subscript, but it should be there. Even, and if you have Jesus, I do not believe in Jesus.
It's Christos, sir.
I can't write breathing marks or accents with this program. So I have to, but it should be into Yesu. If you look on page 64, no, sorry, page 66, you see that Jesus is declined in a different way. Nominative case, Jesus. Accusative case, Yesun. Genitive case, Yesu. Dative, Yesu. So it is declined differently. Into Yesu. But it is a personal name, so it will have the article in Greek. We do not say that, we do not translate the article. Please mute your microphones if you're not answering a question. We do not translate in the Jesus. Please do not translate that way, because in English we don't use the article, but in Greek we must have it into Jesu, in Jesus. And the same would be here. If we add text here in, the angels are believing in Christ. If we have Christ, we are using him here as a proper name. So and again, I cannot write the iota subscripts. These are missing. They should be there. Into Christo. The angels are believing in Christ. Now, there is a special way we express this, by the way. If, especially in the Gospel of John, if I say the people would be what? Are believing. If I wanted to say the peoples.
Sir, we are not seeing you. We are just seeing the screen. The demons do not believe in God.
That's what I want you to see, the screen.
Okay.
You're supposed to be seeing the screen. The people are believing in Jesus. Whoops. Misspelled. The peoples, and this is wrong, sin. The peoples are believing in Jesus. When in the Gospel of John, he wants to say that they are truly believing in Jesus, not just believing about him. That would be the dative case. That would be in to Jesu. But they are truly believing into Jesus, that they are making Jesus their Lord and Savior. Then the Gospel of John especially uses the word es ton Jesun. Accusative case shows the movement, the penetration, the direction. There's a difference between believing facts and miracles about Jesus and actually trusting in Jesus, entrusting ourselves to Jesus. But what I want to point out now is simply this, that mainly the neuter plural subject takes the singular verb, pistu a, whereas the masculine subject takes the plural verb if it's plural. Hoi angeloi pistu usin. Hoi laoi, the peoples are believing into Jesus, or actually we must say in Jesus in English, because into Jesus does not make good sense, is not a good English translation, but that is the actual meaning of it. They're entrusting themselves to Jesus. They trust in Jesus. We should probably change from believe to trust in order to get this across. All right, back again, and I'm going to, whoops. We have a few minutes left, and I want to share with you from chapter 5, because you're going to have homework from chapter 4, but we're also going to begin chapter 5. And the last part of your homework will be from chapter 5. And there's just one other thing from chapter 4 we should look at. So let me share the screen here. Okay. You need to learn from chapter 4 also how to decline Jesus. You need to know how to decline Moses, but he is not so important as Jesus. You need to learn how to decline Jesus. How is Jesus declined? Because Jesus looks different in the genitive and dative cases than you would expect. And in the accusative case, it looks different. His name. The verb I am, a me. There are some verbs that end in me. They're called me verbs, mu, iota. So we call them me verbs, and this is the first one we learn. A me, a, you are, and estin, he, she, it is. We've already met estin before, so we know it, but we should learn the whole how to conjugate verbs. We decline nouns, but we conjugate verbs. I am, you are, you singular are, a. And notice the accent, please, over the iota, a. We must have this, because if we don't have this circumflex accent over a, over the iota, it means something different. So a me, a estin. I am, you are, he, she, it is. This table is on page 64. So you need to learn this table of the, page 65. On page 65, you need to learn this table by memory. And the rest of the table is esmin, este, esin. We are, you plural are, they are. Notice that in Greek, we can always tell if it is a singular you is being addressed, you are, or a plural you, a group, este. Now, I know I mentioned here, this word here, a, with the circumflex accent means you are. If you do not have this accent over it, notice on page 67 in the vocabulary, please. On page 67, notice that if it does not have the accent over it, it means if. So this is one place where it's important that we know the accent mark. So memorize the vocabulary at the end of chapter 4. And the words that you need to decline: Amy, the verb, and Jesus, ha, Jesus, declines differently, and he shows you how in chapter 4. And you will do all the exercises for homework. I will post the homework. And one more thing that I will post from the homework is this. So I need to stop sharing and go back. Okay, just a moment. Bear with me, because I need to show you this. I need to have, all right, there we are. It takes just a moment for my system to react. All right. Nope, wrong screen. I'll be here just a few more minutes. Here we are. Chapter 5, we're going to introduce chapter 5, and I want you to start learning. When I say start learning means I will not quiz you on the vocabulary in chapter 5, but you should start learning it, because the week after I will quiz you. And one more thing that you need to know: in 2 weeks' time, we will have a midterm exam. So we'll have a longer quiz, and what it will be is simply like a class quiz, except longer. And you will have more time. You will not be quite under such pressure, but you will still have to move ahead at the midterm exam. We are limited in our virtual course, which probably will go all the way to the end in February. Hopefully next semester we can meet together. I will be back on campus and we can have class together. It'd be much easier to teach that way. But for right now, we must deal with it this way. You need to start learning the vocabulary in chapter 5. The main thing in chapter 5 is we have some new verbs, and these verbs are what we call epsilon omega verbs. And that is, they have their stem, the main part of the word, what we call the stem, ends in epsilon. For example, the word laleo, I say. Now you're probably saying, well, why? We already have the word Lego. Why do we need laleo? We need it because it's used very often in the New Testament. And it has a bit more the idea of uttering, of even speaking in tongues. But in New Testament times, that meaning was also being gradually lost, and the two words were being mixed together, lego and laleo. So in some contexts, we will need to keep that in mind, the classical meaning of laleo, but we also need to know that very often the two words are very similar in meaning. I speak. What is important right now for us to know is that these, when we have a verb like this, it contracts. And but the only place that you will notice a difference with the contractions is here, these two places. Because the epsilon and the omicron contract to umen instead of amen. And the epsilon here in the second person plural contract to eta instead of eta. Otherwise, all the endings look the same. La lo, la les, la le, la lucen. I speak, you speak, he, she, it speaks, we speak. Ah, umen. Eta, you use plural speak, and la lucen, they speak. Or I am speaking, you are speaking, and so on. In the dictionary, this verb will appear as la leo, and any other epsilon omega verb, poieo, I do or I make, poieo. In the beginning, in arche hotheos poiesin, God made the heavens and the earth. Poieo is that verb in the Greek translation of the Old Testament. And here, if it were present tense, it would be simply poie. It looks the same, but in the dictionary, it is poieo or laleo. You'll have a list of verbs at the end of chapter 5. But the thing we should also notice is that there is always a circumflex accent to indicate that there has been a contraction. I will not make you put the circumflex accent, but you need to recognize why it is there. Why do they put a circumflex accent here when we normally don't have it with eurisco, euriskes, euriske, akuo, akues, akue. There's no circumflex accent as here, but because of the contraction, they show it by putting a circumflex accent. But what we need to recall and remember is that here it will be umen instead of amen, because this contraction makes this, and these two, this contraction makes this, eta instead of eta, is the only difference. So in chapter 5, we will simply have some new verbs to learn, and this rule will affect us, the spelling. Otherwise, chapter 5 is very simple. So the main thing is to keep up learning your vocabulary. You must keep up learning. You must keep up. You must. You must do your homework. You must turn it in. Now, if you're late with your homework, that happens sometimes, not a problem. It will be counted down percentage-wise a little bit, but better late than, always say better late than never. Actually, though, your homework should always be ready for the class time. So you should have finished your homework for this class before the class. Because we take the homework sometimes, we didn't today, but we would take the homework and say, okay, you had this sentence. What did you do with it? And we learn from these sentences that we do, these exercises. So do your best to do your homework on time. You must also memorize the vocabulary and of course, learn the grammar. How do the words come together? If you have questions and problems, don't hesitate to ask our assistants, Mr. Masood, Ms. Zanaria, who you have not met personally in this class, but she is also available, especially for the ladies. She can also answer questions from men, but Mr. Masood is our main assistant. And he knows, he is here in class, so he knows what has happened. So if you have questions or problems, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask them. I want you to understand. And I want you to know that learning a language is a tough job. You must make a sacrifice. There's no other way. You must learn consistently. You can't cram a language. You can't learn it on Wednesday night or Thursday morning, 1 hour quickly. I have a class this evening. No, 45 minutes each day is better than 5 hours the night before. Why? Because repetition, repetition, repetition. So keep sacrificing. It will be a long-term sacrifice, of course, like COVID. COVID is long-term. We have been waiting for a year now, and we keep waiting for this to be over. We have to wait some months yet. So it is with language learning. You will have to wait and continue to work and work and work, but you will come to the place where it will have great rewards if you keep at it. So with that, I close our class today. I thank you for your attendance. It's almost 10 after 9, and I'm sure that some of you are very tired. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for following God's call. If you believe that God has called you to this work, then he will equip you and help you. Thank you for following God's call to be his disciple and to learn the Greek language. It will have great rewards. God bless you. And we will end the class.